The modern refrigerator is a trap. You are paying $1,500 for a machine packed with screens, sensors, water dispensers, and control boards that will cost more to fix than the unit is worth. And the appliance industry designed it that way. In 20 years of repairing refrigerators for a living, I have watched good machines get hauled to the curb over a $60 sensor more times than I can count. But if you stop chasing features and start looking at engineering, there are 5 refrigerators built to run forever. These are the only ones I would trust. Number 5 is the Subzero built-in. I know what you are thinking. Subzero is for people with kitchen renovations that cost more than most cars. That stigma is fair, but hear me out from a repairman's perspective, because Subzero belongs on this list for a reason that has nothing to do with status. I had a client, a retired architect named Helen, who called me in 2021 about her refrigerator. The unit was a Subzero built-in installed in 1998, 23 years old. She got a compressor service and a parts order that arrived in 4 days. She did not buy a new refrigerator. That is the entire point. Subzero is the only premium brand that designed its refrigerators to be serviced, not scrapped. The panels come off cleanly. The components are modular. The parts are still available decades after the sale. Subzero says its products are designed to last around 20 years on average, and in my experience, well-maintained units often go longer. That is not marketing. It is the result of treating a refrigerator as permanent equipment rather than a feature platform with a built-in expiration date. The insider check. Before you buy, call a Subzero authorized provider and ask if parts are available for that model. If they are, you have found a machine that was designed to be kept. The stigma is the price. The reason it belongs here is the philosophy. Number 4 is the old Frigidaire, specifically the GM-era Frigidaire built from the post-war decades through the early 1980s. Frigidaire was not just a brand name, it was a household word. My grandmother called every refrigerator a Frigidaire the way some people call every tissue a Kleenex. That kind of name recognition does not happen by accident. It happens because the product worked consistently in millions of American kitchens for decades. The stigma is obvious. These units are old, plain, and completely without features worth mentioning. But here is the repairman's truth. The old Frigidaire had a compressor, a thermostat, and almost nothing else that could fail. No control board to fry, no dispenser motor to seize, no touchscreen to go dark after a firmware update. The cabinet is heavy gauge steel. The door seals are thick rubber that actually holds a temperature. The insider check. Listen for a steady compressor hum and grab the door gasket and pull. It should resist. Check for rust at the base of the cabinet, especially on units that spent time in garages. A clean example with a solid compressor and intact seals can be had for $300 or less. If those 3 things check out, you have found a machine built to a standard, not a price point. Number 3 is GE and Hotpoint, and I want to be specific because these 2 names confuse people. Hotpoint was GE's value line. Same engineering, DNA, lower price point, plainer finish. In the field, they behave identically. The stigma on these is the worst of any unit on this list. GE and Hotpoint are the landlord fridge, the rental house fridge. Nobody brags about a Hotpoint. Nobody posts it in a kitchen renovation video. It is the most anonymous refrigerator ever sold in America. But that is exactly why it survived. I have seen older GE and Hotpoint top freezer units running in garages and back kitchens that have outlasted 3 full rounds of modern appliances in the same house. Viewers who have owned these say the same thing. It just kept running. No drama, no service calls, no failure story. The machine had one job, and it did that job without complaint for 30 years. Clean used units can still be found for under $300. For that price, the boring fridge is the smart fridge. Number 2 is the Whirlpool top freezer. I know the stigma. It is ugly. It is inconvenient. It does not have French doors, a through-door ice maker, or a screen that tells you the temperature in Celsius. In a showroom full of modern refrigerators, nobody stops at a Whirlpool top freezer. That is the point. Here is the mechanic's truth. A modern French door refrigerator with a through-door ice dispenser has a dozen independent components that can fail: the ice maker motor, the water inlet valve, the dispenser actuator, the control board, the touch panel, the seal system pressure sensors. A Whirlpool top freezer from the right era has a compressor, a thermostat, a fan motor, and a defrost timer. That is the entire list. When there is almost nothing complicated to break, almost nothing breaks. I have 20 years of service calls confirming that pattern, and it never changes. The insider check. Listen to the compressor. It should hum steadily and not cut on and off every few minutes. Close the door on a dollar bill and pull. If it slides out without resistance, the gasket is gone and the unit is working twice as hard as it should. Look inside the freezer for uneven frost buildup, which points to a failing defrost cycle. These checks take 10 minutes. A solid unit from this era can be had for $300 to $500 and will outperform every refrigerator in your neighbor's kitchen with a screen on the door. My number one pick on this list is not just about engineering. It is about the most overlooked refrigerator in American history. And there is a very good chance one is sitting in your garage right now. Number one is the Kenmore Coldspot, specifically any Kenmore with a model number starting with 106. I had a client named Roy, a retired electrician from outside Columbus. His father bought a Kenmore 106 new in 1987. Roy inherited it. It lives in his garage. It has held beer, bait, and leftover paint for nearly 4 decades. The door handle is worn smooth. The interior light flickers. The compressor runs like a tractor. Roy has never once called anyone to service it. The stigma is that it looks like nothing. A plain white or beige box with a top freezer, dial controls, and no brand prestige whatsoever. People pass these up at estate sales because they look cheap and old. That is the single biggest mistake a buyer can make. Here is the insider check, and this is the detail that changes everything. Sears. Parts Direct confirms that Kenmore refrigerators with the 106 prefix are Whirlpool-built designs. The badge says Kenmore. The engineering is Whirlpool. You are getting the exact same mechanical DNA as the number 2 pick on this list, at an even lower price, inside the least exciting box ever to sit in an American kitchen. Find the model tag on the interior sidewall. If it starts with 106, you are looking at a Whirlpool compressor, a Whirlpool sealed system, and Whirlpool parts availability. If the compressor is quiet, the door seals hold, and the freezer stays cold. Buy it. Clean units sell for under $200. At that price, you are not buying a refrigerator. You are buying your way out of an $800 monthly payment on something that loses value the day it leaves the showroom. The best refrigerator does not have Wi-Fi. It does not have a family hub, a touchscreen, or a camera that shows you what is inside from the store. It gets cold, stays cold, and does it for 30 years without a service call. These 5 machines come from an era when an appliance was permanent equipment. That era is over. The machines are not. Find one before someone else does.